Let's start. What is the maximum gross weight for a single axle on Ontario highways? 9,100 kilograms. This limit protects road surfaces from excessive wear. Moving on. How many hours are you allowed to drive in one shift under Ontario HOS rules? 13 hours. This ensures drivers take sufficient rest breaks. Here's the next one. At what PSI does the air compressor governor typically cut in? 100 PSI. That's when the compressor begins pumping to maintain system pressure. Let's keep going. What is the minimum tread depth for front steering tires? 4/30 inch. Adequate tread is critical for steering control and traction. On to this. What is the minimum tread depth for other drive tires? 2/30 inch. Ensures sufficient grip and water evacuation. Next up, how often must air tanks be drained if no automatic drains exist? Daily. Removing moisture prevents corrosion and freezing. Let's proceed. What is the maximum height for a truck and load? 4, 15 meters for collisions with bridges and overhead structures. Continuing, what is the maximum width without special permits? 2, 6 meters. Defines the widest load you can carry freely. Here's another. How many tie-downs are required for cargo over 10 feet long? At least 2. Ensures cargo stays secure in transit. Moving on. What weight per axle cannot be exceeded on twin tires? 6,000 kilograms. Limits axle load to protect tires and pavement. Next question. How many hours off duty are required before a new work shift? 8 hours. Mandatory rest to prevent driver fatigue. Let's continue. What is the maximum length for a straight truck? 12, 5 meters. Regulates overall vehicle size on public roads. Here's the next. What is the maximum length for a tractor semi-trailer combination? 23 meter. Governs combined tractor and trailer length. Moving along. When must a pre-trip inspection be completed? Before each trip. Identifies defects before you hit the road. Next up. What is jackknifing? Sharp fold between tractor and trailer, often caused by sudden braking. Continuing. What does ABS prevent? Wheel lockup under braking. Maintains steerability during hard stops. Let's keep going. What is the purpose of the air dryer? Remove moisture from brake air. Protects valves and lines from ice and corrosion. Here's another. How far should reflective triangles be placed behind a disabled CMV? 10 meter, 100 meters, 200 meters. Warns traffic at increasing distances. Next question. What is the safe method to back a trailer? Use a helper wherever possible. A spotter prevents collisions and oversteer. Continuing. What should you do before uncoupling a trailer? Chock wheels and shut off trailer air. Stops unintended movement and air loss. Moving on. What is the function of the glad hands? Connect air lines between tractor and trailer. Enables service and emergency brakes. Here's the next. What is the maximum PSI for emergency valve application? 20 to 45 PSI. That pressure engages spring brakes in an emergency. Let's proceed. How often must cargo securement be inspected? Before, during, and after trip. Ensures load remains properly restrained. Continuing, what is the weight limit on a tandem axle group? 17,000 kilograms. Controls load distribution across paired axles. Next up, what is the recommended following distance for CMVs? 1 second per 10 feet vehicle length. Adjust gap based on size. Moving on, what is the maximum speed limit on 400 series highways? 100 kilometers per hour. Standard maximum for high-speed routes. Here's another. When must headlights be turned on? From dusk to dawn. Improves visibility in low-light conditions. Continuing, how far must you stop from a railway crossing if signals are active? 5-15 meter. Keeps you clear of tracks when a train is approaching. Next question. What does a yellow diamond sign indicate? Warning of hazard ahead. Alerts to upcoming road conditions. Let's keep going. What should you do if the steering wheel play exceeds limits? Report and repair before driving. Excessive play reduces control. Moving on. What is the maximum tire pressure you should use? As specified by manufacturer. Overinflation or underinflation, both unsafe. Continuing. What is the proper way to enter a curve? Slow before, then maintain steady speed. Prevents sudden shifts and loss of control. Here's another. What is the requirement for emergency exit windows on buses? Must open easily from inside. Ensures passengers can escape in emergencies. Next up. How often should you check mirrors while driving? regularly to scan traffic, maintains awareness of surrounding vehicles. Moving on, what is the minimum PSI cutout for the governor? 130 PSI. Stops compressor pumping to avoid overpressurizing. Continuing, what is the primary purpose of a pre-trip walk-around? Identify defects before departure, prevents breakdowns and accidents. Next question, when coupling, what must you verify visually? Locking jaw engagement. Confirms kingpin is securely locked. Let's proceed. What is the maximum grade percentage for CMVs to not shift to neutral? Always remain in gear, prevents loss of engine braking on steep grades. Continuing, what does a solid yellow line next to a broken yellow line mean? Passing allowed on broken line side. The solid side traffic cannot pass. Next up, what is the proper hand signal for a right turn? Left arm bent upward. Standard signal when electric signals fail. Moving on, when is it legal to use a cell phone while driving? Only hands-free. Minimizes manual and visual distractions. Continuing, what is hydroplaning? Tires riding on water film. Causes loss of traction and control. Here's another. What should you do if your vehicle hydroplanes? Ease off accelerator, steer straight. Allows tires to regain road contact. Next question. How far ahead should you scan in city driving? At least one block. Early detection of hazards and signals. Moving on. What is the purpose of the emergency brake? Hold vehicle when parked. Acts as backup if service brakes fail. Continuing, what must you carry when transporting oversized loads? Oversize permit authorizes route and load dimensions. Next up, what is the minimum PSI to maintain in trailer air tanks? 100 PSI. Ensures adequate reserve for braking. Here's another. What is the correct response to brake fade? Downshift and use engine brake. Reduces reliance on overheated service brakes. Moving on, what is the maximum hours of service driving time in a week? 70 hours over 7 days. Limits weekly driving to prevent fatigue. Continuing, what does ELDT stand for? Entry-level driver training. Covers required instruction for new drivers. Next question, how often must automatic slack adjusters be checked? During each pre-trip, verifies correct brake adjustment. Proceeding, what weight restriction applies to a tridem axle group? 24,000 kilograms, distributes load across 3 axles. Continuing, what is the maximum distance from the kingpin to the rear of a semi-trailer? 1565 meter. Limits trailer length for safe maneuvering. Here's one more. What is the minimum height of reflective tape on a CMV? 2 inches. Provides side visibility in low light. Final question. When must you perform an applied leakage test? With engine off, parking brakes off. Measures air loss under constant application.